Welcome to Not Starving Artist, the podcast. I'm your host, Brooke Benson, money coach and equity actor. I am your financial cheerleader, here to help you build your financial confidence and have power over your money. The best part, no budgeting or bi-weekly paychecks required. I went from being a broke BFA grad having weekly panic attacks about money to a financially confident, wealth-building actor and business owner. Money gets to feel fun, simple, and sexy, and I am going to show you how.
We're going to talk about callbacks and financial overflow today for two reasons. I had a really great coaching conversation with one of my clients inside of Cashed Up Creatives last night, which is my group coaching program, where we talked about how hard it is for artists specifically to believe that financial overflow, like living above just a standard baseline of stability, is actually possible for you, right? Because of that starving artist narrative that is consistently in your brain. And the other reason we're talking about this is because I'm doing some work for an audition this week, and I clocked how I have a specific thought that allows me to easily get work done and like do the things I need to do for this audition because of what I'm believing in my head. So I'm going to get into that in a second. But this relates to the financial overflow thought because they're two flavors of the same thought. And the thought is it's possible, right? And when you believe that something is possible, follow me here, right? Like follow me with this mindset work for a second because it tactically affects how you move about the world and how you manage your money. When you believe that something is possible, you show up differently. For example, this client that I was coaching last night in Cashed Up Creatives, we were talking about how she's been in this cycle of like, she just believes that she's always going to be taken care of, right? Abundance girly mindset, which we love, but sometimes that abundance girly mindset is paired with avoidance, right? Where you just believe that everything is going to be fine. So what actually ends up happening is you start living in nick of time energy. Now, what that means is like, you're feeling really good, maybe you've got some gigs, you're making money, everything's fine, and then like things start to dry up and you're like, okay, so now it's like hustle time, like let's go, let's make the money or let's make things work. And in the nick of time, at the last second, you're able to pull through and make the money, book the thing, accomplish the thing, whatever it is. And so you're kind of living in this all or nothing cycle, this binge restrict cycle. And what this cycle is telling me, right, what this is a symptom of is you not believing that you could actually live a life totally in that I'm feeling good, this is amazing, I'm juicy, I'm living in overflow space all the time. You believe that there's always going to be like a hustle season that comes after it, or like you really can't get behind a belief that life could look different than that. So you end up just in that cycle over and over and over again. And so what we were talking about, like we were figuring out, right, like with her current financial CEO party that she was doing this month, right, she was clocking this nick of time energy where she was like, yeah, I was going to come in under financially what I wanted to come in at. But then she like hustled, pulled up, she used the framework, make an extra $500 a month, a training inside of my group program. And she was able to bring in $490 this month. She's bringing in another $500 next month, right? And she was like, I don't love that like it's so like at the last minute like that. And so what we got to is you don't believe that you can actually live in overflow. So you're not showing up to your money and your life like overflow is possible, right? Like consistently thinking, how can I make an extra $500 a month? Not just when you're in the hustle mentality. Consistently looking at your numbers, consistently having your financial CEO party, consistently showing up for your money up levels like you know more than just baseline is available to you, okay? I want to switch over to like callbacks and auditions now here too, because this is a big shift that I actually made at the beginning of this year, and it has drastically changed my results when it comes to my acting career. So last year, I went to every single EPA. For those of you who aren't actors, those are equity principal auditions, right? So they're basically open calls for actors to go and audition for theaters in New York, theaters regionally, things like that. I went to every single EPA, did not get a single callback. I got some good feedback in the room, but not a single callback, no like tactical results from those auditions. And I was so frustrated. I was so like, oh my gosh, like nobody's casting from EPAs. I know that's a huge thought, like in the zeitgeist of actors is like, they don't cast from open calls. People don't cast from EPAs. Like you're not actually going to get booked or callbacks from those kinds of auditions. It all happens behind the doors from agent auditions, okay? So I had that thought too. Now this year, I realized that that thought is what had me showing up with like subpar energy and subpar material. So what that looked like was I have an arsenal of monologues, right? Sure. And I would go in and choose the best monologue that I had in my arsenal, kick ass, do it really well for that audition. But there was always something that was a little bit off. Like my thought and my energy walking into these auditions was they're probably not casting for this, but like I'm gonna go because I should, and like I know it's good and da-da-da. Like it was a lot of that. I wasn't actually excited, and I didn't actually believe that anything could come from it. So I was getting frustrated and run down. So I decided to shift my thought, and I was like, what if every single audition I went to, I believed that I could get a callback in the room from that audition? It was like I was hit by a fucking train when all of a sudden, when I switched that thought, every single bit of how I prepped for an audition, I started to have different thoughts about. I started to shift. Like the next day I had an audition, and if I had the thought I could get a call back in the room, I was like, this monologue isn't going to get me the call back in the room. It's just not, right? And I was like, oh, so the fact that I'm having that thought is causing me to, I actually need to read a play in order to find a new monologue that is way more dialed into what this specific show or season is casting for. And I'm going to bring that in, and it's going to be new and fresh and delicious. And I'm going to meditate on my way on the train so I can be in the energy of, fuck yeah, I'm about to get this call back. I'm going to research way more about the people who are in the room so I can show up way more confidently, because I believe a callback is on the table when I get into that room. And let me fucking tell you, I have gotten callbacks this year from those open call auditions. From EPAs, I have gotten callbacks because of that thought switch, right? And so this morning, so let me go back to why I started the conversation in the first place. This morning, I woke up and I have an audition tomorrow, and it's for a specific play. And I had that thought. I was like, I don't think that anything in my arsenal is really that dialed in to what this play is going to be. And so I had researched a play that is pretty much in alignment, has a character that I'm right for in it. So I read it, pulled a couple of monologues, decided which one felt the most exciting to me, worked on it this morning. I have a new monologue prepped in my body, ready to go for tomorrow. And I was like, wow, where did I get the motivation or the energy to do that this morning? Because I did not sleep well last night. I'm a sleepy girl this morning. And I was like, oh, the only reason I had the motivation to actually sit down and do this morning was because I have the thought, I'm going to get a call back from this. When I put something that exciting on the line, when I actually believe that the thing I want is actually attainable to me, motivation comes. I don't even need to drum up willpower to be like, oh, I have to read this play, I have to do the monologue, I have to whatever. No, I am so fucking lit about doing this monologue tomorrow, because I know that woman in the casting room, we're gonna connect on this play, we're gonna connect on this like, I am so excited, and I fully believe I can get a call back in the room. Now, whether or not I actually get a call back in the room tomorrow doesn't matter, but this is what's gonna lead to success in my acting career. So how this relates to your finances, how this relates to what I was talking about with that client and believing that overflow is on the table. So many of you are trying to drum up willpower to sit down and do your CEO party, to look at your numbers, to create the debt payoff plan, create the budget, to spend less so you can save more because you're feeling scarcity. And if you have more in your savings account, you're going to feel better. And it's all just this like, blah, blah, blah. And you don't actually have the motivation to do it ever. You keep putting it off and putting it off and putting it off because you don't actually believe that doing that work is going to lead to a life of overflow. You don't actually believe that financial ease is on the table. is on the line for you to have and for you to achieve. If you actually believed that doing these tasks not only equals financial ease, but equals whatever creative goals you have on the line, that getting your money shit together equals, I talked about this in the podcast earlier this week. I was coaching someone and we were talking about her goal to co-star with Andrew Garfield in a Shakespeare play at the Public. When you connect your money goals to that, and that's what you're feeling and excited about, and you actually believe that the two are correlated, you do not have to drum up any ounce of willpower. That shit will automatically be happening. You will automatically want to sit down and have your CEO party. You will automatically want to sit down and look at your numbers. You're automatically going to want to be researching how to increase your income, because you know when you increase your income, not only can you put 3 months of bills in the bank account so you don't have to worry about your fluctuating income, but then you can also get back into class, right? With that specific casting director or that specific like agent workshop you want to take, because you know that agent casts for these specific theaters, and working at these specific theaters are exactly the theaters that pipeline you into the public, right? When you correlate all of that together, you don't have to drum up willpower. It just automatically happens. It automatically calibrates in your body. So what I need you to do, and this is what I help my clients do, not only are we tying the money stuff to your desires and wants, but I'm working with them on actually getting clear on what their desires and wants are. Because that's something that's so hard for us as creatives, is to actually name what we want and say, I desire this and I want to have it and I'm going to get it. Because it has been banged into us over and over and over, day after day after day, since the moment you decided you wanted to be a creative, that you're going to have to live a life of less. That you're going to have to be grateful for anything that comes your way. That you actually can't desire the things you want to desire, because that's going to lead to a life of disappointment. But the thing is if you don't actually desire the things that you want, you're just going to keep falling flat. Oh, okay, vocal analogy. Singers. I mean, I haven't been in vocal coaching in a minute, but when I trained in musical theater. When I was training in musical theater and had a vocal coach, right, it was always taught that you want to aim for over the note, right? Aim over the note so you don't come in flat. Because if you're trying to reach for the note, you're always going to end up a little flat. But if you are envisioning and thinking about going over the note, you end up, right? Not over the note, you normally end up at the note, okay? Same with your wants and desires. You have to aim higher so you end up where you actually want to be, right? But then you can also go higher, right? Like this analogy breaks down a little bit. But if you're like not really aiming for what you want, you're always going to come up flat. You're always going to come up a little bit under. So you actually have to have the big desires and the big dreams, right? It's like the phrase, shoot for the moon, and even if you miss, you'll land among the stars. Like, that's a cliche quote for a reason. Like, it's actually true. So I want you to name, like, take that exercise that I did with the woman on my podcast this week when I was coaching her. Name something so specific that you actually want, that you could like visualize and get so giddy, and like whatever you can feel in your body, right? So like I have some specific shows and theaters and people and moments of like emails and phone calls that I'm getting, or being in specific rehearsal rooms with specific people, that when I think about, I'm already feeling it in my body. Like I get tingles, I get chills, and I get so excited. Like the giddiness starts to drum up in me. That's what I want your dreams to do for you. Guess what's not going to drum up that giddiness? Stability. I just want to be even keel. I just want to be able to like go out to eat and not stress. Sure, yes, like let's aim for that too. Of course, you're going to get that on the way to your big dreams. Your big dreams aren't going to be achieved without being able to go out to eat and not stress, without being able to have an apartment that you really love, that feels really good to live in, right? All of that is going to happen on the way to your big dreams. But like those sorts of things, those baseline, okay, I just want to survive and not be stressed, that can't drum up those excited feelings, that giddiness. That's actually gonna, again, get you to sit down in the morning and read a play and work on a whole new monologue before work even starts. Like, that's not what's gonna do that. You have to have those big dreams that get you so excited in order for willpower to not be an issue. Willpower is our least consistent and least reliable resource. Willpower is so unreliable, especially, right? Like, I'm about to get my period, and I know when I'm in this part of my cycle, motivation is out the fucking window. Out the fucking window. So how am I going to still live my life and do the things that I want to do when I'm feeling zero motivation and zero willpower? It's the excitement for my desires and my dreams, right? Like, again, I'm sitting down and doing this work for this audition tomorrow. I have like a crazy busy week, but it's all coming from excitement and desire. I'm not having to drum up willpower and drum up motivation, because we can't rely on that day to day to day, month to month to month. You need your desires to keep pulling you forward, right? Because that's the only thing that's going to be sustainable. This is why, in addition to that, all of the systems and strategies financially that I teach you all, that I teach my clients, this is why they're so simple. Because if you have to rely on willpower to track your spending every single day or even every single week, I'm sorry, but you are absolutely not going to do that. I know you. I know you. You're not going to do that. I learned to be a type A, crazy, anal, organized person, and I can't do that. Absolutely not, right? These iOS reactions agree. So the strategies require no willpower. 1 time a month, 1 hour a month, and why the principles I teach you for creating a financial CEO party is based on making it fun, making it exciting, making it something that feels really easy to do, and why it takes so little time. Why we focus on organization of your money rather than like restriction and tracking and white knuckling your money, because all of that takes energy and effort. And all of your energy and effort, for my creatives, for my artists, there is so much effort that you need to put into your creative career. I'm sorry, but you do not have the energy overflow, the effort overflow to put extra like energy and effort daily into your money life, right? You need all of the extra you can get to be putting into your dreams, right? So you need something that is going to run on autopilot that you can just check in on, right? And that's what money organization does, because money organization is telling you the story of your money right as you log into your bank accounts. You know exactly what you can afford. You can see that you're 3 months ahead on bills. You can see that you got that money for the vacation without it touching your emergency money. You can see that all of your bills are paid and you still have playground money to go out to eat and get groceries. You can see if you can afford to go and ball out with your friends this weekend. Like, you can see all of that so clearly. So you don't need to get into a spreadsheet and have like a whole hour-long moment with your numbers to try and figure out, can I buy this flight if I'm doing this next month, and da-da-da. You don't have to do any of that, right? It's so simple. And that's what money organization does. Like, this is why I'll never stop screaming about the money flow method, because budgeting takes effort and energy and willpower. The money flow method doesn't, right? And the only thing that's going to be sustainable for the rest of your life, especially if you're a creative, is something that doesn't take willpower. Because the only things that you can continue to do when motivation lacks is the things that are automated and simple and that excite you, right? Pair that with being excited about your future dreams and money being tied to those future dreams. Unfucking stoppable is what you're going to be. You put those two things together, I'm sorry, dreams achieved so much quicker than you thought they would be. I'm literally experiencing that in my life. I'm taking everything that I do in my money life and applying it to my acting career so much. I'm continually having breakthroughs, right? About how the mindset work and how all of the patterns that you have in one area of your life bleed into other areas of your life. And so, like, continuing to use the things that I've healed in my money life and applying them to my acting career, I am literally seeing results, right? Like, this year alone, shifting a few thoughts in my acting life has led to callbacks from these EPAs and open calls, has led to a booked role that I ended up not filming for. They came and switched up casting at the last moment, but booked a lead role on a Hulu series, right? I signed with a manager who is incredible. I'm so excited to be on his team. There's so many results that I've seen in my acting career that did not happen last year, right? That happened this year. And it's because I switched some of these thoughts, which then in turn switched my actions. That's what y'all have to remember about mindset work and emotional work and thought work. It's not just to like feel good in your brain and like, woo woo, yay, like we're all feeling good mindset work. No, it's because like the thoughts literally shift how you show up. The thought, I'm probably not going to get this, would have me bring in a stale ass monologue to this audition tomorrow. The thought I'm going to get a call back in the room has me reading a play, doing a new monologue, and kicking ass and feeling incredible about it. And even if I don't get a call back in the room, planting another seed with this casting director of like, you're going to want to hire me, right? That's the difference. That's what the mindset work does, which is why inside of coaching here at Not Starving Artists, we're always going to do both, right? Because you need the strategy, like we talked about, right? The money flow method, the simple strategy that actually enforces changing the mindset work, right? Like when your money is simple, you're easily able to calibrate your thoughts around money being simple, around money being easy.
Thanks so much for tuning in. Come join me on Instagram for more on how to build a simple, sexy relationship with your money. My Instagram handle is @NotStarvingArtists. And if you want to dive deeper with me, head to the show notes to learn more about one-on-one coaching. If you love this episode, subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a friend that you want to get rich with.